Hi everybody, it's me, LisaT, coming at you with some positive energy reading. The Language of Letting Go by Melody Beattie. Okay, so we are reading November 1st, Transformation Through Grief. Oh my gosh, yes, I can totally relate to this right out of the gates. It's all been that. My whole, the majority part of my last 6 years of recovery have been about facing grief, facing some situations that I was in, that facing them because I hadn't dealt with them. So then feeling these things come up. I always use the lingo, these things coming up. So something comes up, I get triggered, some sort of grief, and grief is just a loss. Grief is simply loss. It could be loss of a pet, loss of a job, loss of a parent, loss of, and either they die or they just go away, or a breakup, any kind of loss can be categorized under grief. So when we can face the pain of that, when we can accept the loss, accept that, and accept our feelings and finally feel the grief. Grief is a really tricky thing. It can hit you at any time. It can hit you, at the moment that something is lost or someone dies or something, and then 10 years later, all of a sudden you think everything's like hokey dokey and you dealt with it, all of a sudden, boom, it's triggered and you feel it. So if you know anyone going through something like with grief, please be gentle with them and know that everyone's grief too comes up at different times in different ways. And but when we can face the pain, feel the loss, then we can finally let it go, and accept what's happened. So there's transformation through grief, November 1st. We're striving for acceptance. There we go, accept it. We're striving for acceptance in recovery. It's the number one thing, acceptance. When we can accept things, people, places, and things, then life is good. Ourselves as well. Acceptance of ourselves, there we go, our past, other people, and our present circumstances. Acceptance brings peace, healing, and freedom. Because when you resist, when you're not accepting, you're resisting, and your body then feels that, and it feels like it has to go in survival mode. It's like, no, we're in fight or flight mode, and it can't go into rest and digest, which is where your healing comes in, and then the system can't flow because something that you're resisting, you're not accepting things as they are. So that's why healing can take place too. Acceptance brings peace, healing, and freedom. The freedom to take care of ourselves. Back to that, ourselves. Freedom to take care of ourselves. Acceptance is not a one-step process. There's layers to it. I say that like that because I know I thought I dealt with something, and then it hits me even stronger, and it's a different layer and a different level of acceptance I have to go through, and then until I get to the root of it and accept from there, and then all of a sudden a real freedom comes. So, but freedom comes at each level as well. So it's not a one-step process. Before we achieve acceptance, we go towards it in stages of denial, anger, negotiation, and sadness. So before we get to acceptance, and this is what grief through grief too, there's all these stages. There's denial, anger, negotiation, sadness. And negotiation, what that means is I'll do that, I'll accept it if it goes like this, or if it happens this way, or if this can come to me, or if I can do this, then it's this negotiation process. So we go through stages. Denial. It can't be true. It can't be true. It can't be true. I just can't accept it. Anger. Fuck. Why did that have to happen? Rah, rah, rah. Negotiation. If only. And then sadness. And the sadness, I think, is the key to finally feel that sadness. We call these stages the grief process. There you go. Stages of grief and acceptance. Cool. Grief and acceptance have the same stages. This is cool for me to learn. Grief can be frustrating. It can be confusing. So confusing. Because, again, it hits you out of nowhere. We may vacillate between sadness and denial. Oh, it can't be true. Oh God, it makes me so sad. Our behavior may vacillate. Others may not understand us, and that's okay if someone doesn't understand. I went through so much of my life trying to get people to understand where I'm coming from, and understand how it feels to be me, or understand what it feels like to go through what I'm going through. And I stopped needing that. I thought if they could only understand, then I would be okay. Then I would be heard or seen or whatever. Now I just show up for me, and I know it's okay. And I don't even have to understand it at times. So others may not understand us. We may neither understand ourselves nor our own behavior while we're grieving our losses. Then one day things become clear. And then one day it just all becomes clear. the fog lifts and we see that we have been struggling to face and accept a particular reality. That's where the struggle is, when we're not accepting and facing reality. Don't worry. If we're taking steps to care for ourselves, we will move through this process exactly the right place and the right pace. I want to say, oh, it does say pace. At exactly the right pace. So don't worry. So it's going to be, it's all over the board, and it's okay. Sadness and confusion and all these things, but don't worry. If we are taking steps to care for ourselves, so as long as you're being gentle on yourself, you will move through the process at exactly the right pace. Be understanding with yourself and others for the very human way we go through transition. Here's your prayer for today. Today, I will accept the way I go through change. We all go through it differently. We're all different human beings. I will accept the grief process and its stages and the way people accept loss and change. Today, I will accept the way I go through grief, the way I go through change. I will accept the grief process and its stages as the way people accept loss and change. I will accept the grief process and its stages as simply the way that people accept loss of change. It's a roller coaster. Cool? Okay. Thanks for watching. Love you all.